Welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. I am the chair, Commissioner Krista Yoakum. To my right is Vice Chair Commissioner Sean Flowerday. To my far right, Commissioner Roma Amundson. To my left, Commissioner Rick Best, and to my far left, Commissioner Matt Schulte. Please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with us. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, you may begin with the location announcements.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on September 5th, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is the claims. Approval of the claims processed through September 12th, 2023. And I'll note for commissioners there's an amendment to the payroll.
I would move approval of the claims process through September 12th, 2023, and amend it to include payroll disbursements through September 6th, 2023.
Move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 3, consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of A, amendments to the following county contracts. 1, C-20-0232 with Eurotech USA Incorporated for soil stabilization and county engineering. 2, C-20-0634 with BJ's Fleet Wash LLC and C-20-0635 with Jet Splash Full Service Car Wash for the annual service of vehicle washes and related services. 3, C-23-0452 with Godfrey's Tactical Supply for the annual amount of sheriff's uniform clothing and accessories. B, right-of-way contract with Larry Moormeyer, Pella Road and South 54th Street in the amount of $1,942.50. Grant contract with the Asian Community and Cultural Center for the Serving Immigrant and Refugee Youth Program in the amount of $50,000. And D, received and replaced on file the following reports. The Election Commissioner's report for the all-male special election conducted for the Firth Rural Fire Protection District, August 15th, 2023, and Records and Information Management for August 2023.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 4, new business. 4A, proclaiming September 17th, 2020, September 17th through the 23rd, 2023, as Constitution Week in Lancaster County, Nebraska.
I believe this proclamation was brought to us by the Daughters of the American Revolution. Would you please read the resolution, the proclamation?
Of course. Before the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska, in the matter of proclaiming September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week in the County of Lancaster, Nebraska. Whereas September 17th, 2023 marks the 236th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. At this convention, the world's oldest written constitution was drafted by the United States, thus outlining the fundamental principles by which our nation is governed. And whereas our Constitution establishes basic governing principles for society, including checks and balances, federalism, limited government, popular sovereignty, republicanism, individual rights, and separation of powers. And whereas Public Law 915 authorizes the President of the United States to designate the period beginning September 17th and ending September 23rd each year as Constitution Week. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska recognizes Constitution Week, provides an opportunity for all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect upon governing principles. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska hereby proclaims this week of September 17th, 2023 through September 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week in the County of Lancaster, Nebraska, and urges all citizens to recognize the Constitution and its central role in our everyday lives on this memorable anniversary. By the Board of the County Commissioners of Lancaster County, Nebraska, this day of 12th day of September, 2023.
Proclamation. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday, Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 4B, resolution setting a public hearing regarding the vacation of a portion of Branched Oak Road between North 27th Street and North 40th Street, more particularly described in Exhibit A and located in Lancaster County, Nebraska.
I'd move approval of setting the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to set this public hearing. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4C, resolution and amendment to county contract C-74-3162 with APACE. The amendment reflects the name change of Region 5 Community Human Services Program to APACE.
And we do have someone here to speak on this. Welcome, Michelle.
Oh. Start over here.
You could just hand those to the clerk, and and then you may go ahead and start your presentation.
All right.
And I know you, but you could introduce yourself to the other commissioners.
My name is Michelle Schultz. I'm the Chief of Staff for currently Region 5 Services, soon to be named APACE. And we have been working for the past year on the name change, on the rebranding of Region 5 Services. We were here a few months ago, myself and Matt Kosick, the CEO, talking about what Region 5 Services does in our 50-year history. After working with Kid Glove and getting the name change with family, people-supported staff, and everyone's input and them doing a lot of research, they came up with the APACE name, trying to keep us up to date, kind of refresh our look. And so all the other, if you see developmental disability providers have already been through this process. Region 5 was one of the last ones to finally go through this process, and the governing board voted yesterday to adopt the name. And what we're doing now is just asking for the signature to make it official with the county commissioners. The handouts that I gave you have some common question and answers, the reasoning behind choosing APACE, many reasons why, and how we came up with that name. I'll let you read through that. Do you have any questions?
I've spoken a couple of times when I've given my report about how this upcoming name change, and I couldn't remember the name, if you recall. But when I said it aloud to a friend recently, they said, "Oh, like keeping a pace, like everyone and I think that really made sense to me in the terms of how Region 5 does do their work. And so I really appreciate this name.
And I guess the one thing that I just was scanning through this, and it's another synonym almost for alongside.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so I think that that's really one of the things that we are happy to do.
And the design goes with those two
Yeah.
lines, walking side by side people is what we really want to project.
Sure. I would move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 4D, resolution in the matter terminating Human Resources Policy Bulletin number 2022-2, workplace response to COVID-19 policy.
Second. It's all right.
We have a motion and a second, and we welcome you to speak to this.
Yeah, thank you. I'll keep it short. I just feel like we've learned more. We're certainly in a different place than we were when this policy was implemented. It creates a way to operationalize it like all other communicable diseases. Bottom line is, if you're sick, we want you to stay home. We don't care what you're sick with. Don't come in. Don't spread it around, and that just aligns with how we treat other things. So,
And you kept us informed on this change, so thank you. So we have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0. Item 4E, request for an exceptional circumstance award under Personnel Rule 17.9B for Michael Becker, Community Corrections, for a $500 award.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Kilpatrick with Community Corrections. I submitted this exceptional award for Michael Becker. When we started the year, we had 4 clinical positions and staff in each one of those positions. Since the middle of July, we're down to 2 positions, so our 2 clinicians that are on board are working extremely hard.
Good deal.
Yeah, second.
thank you for bringing this
Forward,
before
yeah.
us.
Yeah. We know that, running these programs is a very dynamic process, and there are a lot of challenges. And in the way the world is today, staffing is a big deal, There's a lot of demand for people who can do these jobs. So having folks who step up in voids like this is just doubly impressive. We thank you for
And
bringing this to our
recognize them.
attention.
Is
Thank you.
certainly important for that effort.
And really, in such a short time that you've been here, you've recognized that. So very good.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0. 4F, request for exceptional circumstance award under Personnel Rule 17.9B for Kristen Larson, Community Corrections, for a 1-step pay increase.
Once again, Ms. Larson is our second clinician. When I arrived here 4 short weeks ago, the position was posted, and we had 1 person who applied for that position who didn't have the licensure required. So we have gone out again and reposted this position. It's an incredibly difficult position to fill. To date, we've had 1 applicant.
Well, I would move approval of this 1-step increase.
So is this for this other person that's in the role, or is this for someone that was just recently hired? Just help me understand.
No, this is for the other person that's in that role.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Just making sure. I
Let the
understand.
record reflect my comments from the previous item. Our appreciation to this individual.
Thank you.
we have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0. 4G is appointment of Brad Johnson as interim director of the Youth Services Center and as facility administrator for purposes of developing and maintaining policies and procedures for the Youth Services Center, rescinding all prior appointments as facility member administrator effective September 12th, 2023.
Approval.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0. 4H, a contract with the Administrative Office of Probation for the new provision detention services for juvenile at the Lancaster County Youth Services Center. The new per diem rate is $334 per juvenile, is effective July 1, 2023.
Move approval.
Second. And I just want to say thanks to our staff for doing that as a negotiating with us.
It has taken us a while to get here, but please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4I, an agreement with Cazares Counseling LLC to provide substance abuse evaluations and educational sessions to inmates of the Lancaster County Department of Corrections. The cost of the county shall not exceed $27,660.
Move approval.
I would second, but I have a question, and is this a new contract or is this a renewal, or do we know? I don't see anyone from the jail.
Say renewal if it was renewal of the contract.
I believe this is a new contract. It's for a service that we already had, so this is a new provider for the same service.
Okay, same service as new provider. Thank you.
Thank you
And
for
they've
that
been- They've
clarification.
been fighting to get more providers in for the same thing,
Right.
so.
Absolutely.
So we have a motion and a second to approve this agreement. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4J, we have 3 recommendations from Personnel Policy Board, and I'll read all 3. 1 is revise the classification of the jail administrator, C27. 2 is to request to create the Workplace Weapons Human Resources Policy Bulletin. And 3 is the request to amend the Workplace Violence Prevention Human Resource Policy Bulletin.
Morning again. I can briefly talk about these, or if you just have questions, I'm happy to answer those too. The description's just being revised. It's not significant revisions, just clarification of wording and then adding a couple specifically to responsibilities. So that is just to require the knowledge and best practice standards of the field of criminal justice, and then considerable knowledge and principles and practices of methods required in the delivery of human services to incarcerated individuals. So that's all that's on the class description change. The workplace weapons policy, I'm going to try to talk about it in conjunction with the workplace violence policy. This was created based on the passage of LB 77, and we just thought it was really important to clarify what was acceptable in the workplace, so we have safe work environments, not just within our buildings, but also our work sites. Many of our employees are not in a building every day doing their work. They are out in the county. So we wanted to clarify what was work sites, what was vehicles, what was the practices, and give good direction on what was acceptable. And this is for employees and volunteers. It aligns with a policy that Public Building Commission did. We worked jointly on that to make sure that we were following the same kind of language they were using. Any questions on that one before I pause?
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you, that you are working in conjunction with the PBC.
Yes, the policies were done with, we used the same attorneys involved in both groups to make sure we were aligning these policies.
So that consistency is important.
That consistency, yes.
I actually have a question about the third one. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is that okay to ask questions on that now? So it looks like there's a pretty significant shift, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, in who handles this situation, because previously the policy said the personnel director, which would be inside of a department, whereas now it says, and I'm looking just so we're all clear, it's the top of, what page number is this? Page 4, Part D, the new Part D, it says now that the Human Resources Director, with the cooperation of the department, and if appropriate, law enforcement shall investigate. That's quite a bit different than the Personnel Director, which I perceive to be a person inside the department. Am I understanding that correctly?
Are you talking about the workplace violence prevention
Yes,
policy?
yes. Uh-huh.
Yep. I hadn't chatted about that one yet. That was going to be next. I just
Okay,
paused on
sorry, I got
weapons
ahead
to
of
see if there were.
myself then.
No, that's okay. I was going to point out a number of changes in the workplace violence prevention policy too. If we're good, I can move on to those.
I think we can.
Okay. So there are some significant changes in this one. I think the first thing we did is really consider that there are many positions where use of force, because of the nature of the industry of the position, is required. We wanted to clarify and strengthen that language. So if it's required in your job, it's not, or something through the course of your job, it's not necessarily a violation, or it's not a violation of this policy. So you're going to see that change in this policy. The other thing we did is we took out reference to weapons because we're creating a separate policy to specifically deal with that. We did broaden reporting. What we really want is these things reported, and where do you feel safe reporting those is important. It can be to it coming into HR. It can be to someone in that department. It could be to a person of authority like Dave Durbin. If this is where you feel safe, really what we want to do is create that safe psychology of I have a safe spot that I can report this incident. And we've had them reported. We've had them reported in multiple different areas, right? It doesn't have to be within that reporting structure. It's about creating options for our employees just to make sure these things are being raised. We modernized this too. We've included social media in here, and it's just the world we live in now. So we've expanded that to include threats that could be made over instant messaging or social media kinds of things. We did clarify that HR usually does those internal workplace investigations. It's part of what we're charged with. However, we don't do those in a vacuum. We do those very much hand in hand with department directors and take a look at that. But the reason we really want to clarify that is sometimes those investigations can involve people in positions of leadership. And it's important that we have someone who's neutral doing that, no stake in the game, outside party just to come in and take a look at all the factors around that. So that's what you were talking about, Commissioner Schulte, is why we made that change, because then there's no conflict of interest, and we really want to avoid those in our investigations. And so I'm trying to think. The other thing we did is we clarified around law enforcement. This is an HR policy dealing with workplace things. We are limited to what we can do within the workplace. We can do workplace sanctions from our investigations. We really wanted to clarify there are two tracks to workplace violence. One could be the internal workplace investigation, which can result in the actions we can take, which is demotion, suspension, termination of employment. But there could be a law enforcement component of this. And that is a separate track. We are going to let law enforcement do their job and not interfere in that, which could result in that other track, which could be criminal charges, and that piece of the pie, which we don't have any control or influence on, right? We're just going to do our internal workforce side of things. So we tried to clarify that those two tracks really run. They might run at the same time, but they run separately. And we're really looking at the workforce side of it. Or the HR side, the employer side, the policy employer side of it. So that is the changes you see in the policy. With that, do you have questions on this one?
I guess I would just be curious about, I understand using human resource department, but the way it's written feels to me like the human resource department does it. It says with the cooperation of the department, but the way this could be read could exclude the department leadership in an issue. And I understand that there could be an issue with the department leadership, but I would rather empower our directors rather than exclude them from the process.
To address your specific question about the change from personnel to human resources, it's the exact same function. Personnel is just an antiquated reference. It used to be called the personnel department. It's now the human resources department. So this is referring to the same function as it did before. So I just want to clarify that language change is not a substantive change. This is merely changing the nomenclature for the reference.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I would move approval.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 4K. Recommendation from the Southeast Nebraska Development District, SEND, to award a contract through the Lancaster County Owner-Occupied Rehabilitation Housing Program for Project 013 to Crew Line Exteriors in the amount of $21,700 to remove and replace 6 windows, enclose home with vinyl siding, install soffit and fascia aluminum metal wrap, and install new gutters.
Move approval.
We have a
Yeah,
motion and a
but-
second, but yeah, we'd love to
Yeah,
hear
we'd
from
love
you.
So yeah, last time I
You
was
can
here.
tell how excited we are and how glad we
I
are to have this program.
can. So yeah, no, this is the one that I had talked about last time that I thought would be an excellent project for us. It's right up our alley for what we've been doing. Unfortunately, I was only able to get just one bid back. I was hoping Steve would be able to get us something from MIT, but he has been pretty busy helping us wrap up some older programs and has been really dedicating a lot of his time and effort towards that. So Cavapa's kind of out on the west side of our district, and so they weren't able to make the drive either, and Raglan's have taken on a sixplex over in Nebraska City, so they were a little busy as well. But luckily, Jeff with Crew Line was able to get over there and get things checked out. There's actually 8 windows in the home, but 2 on the back are in pretty good shape, and the homeowners actually rescinded having those 2 done, even though I encouraged them to, because why not? It fit the bill, but they don't want to take more than what they need from the program, which is admirable. So, but this is a great project. This will help with their energy efficiency, give them a better quality of life on the home, all the good stuff we're looking for.
Could you remind us, where is this home?
This one will be over in Bennett. So
Bennett.
this would be our second one in Bennett, but we still have enough funds to keep going around the district or the county.
Great.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You're doing an amazing amount of work there, so that's good.
Well, thank you.
And-
We're trying.
And actually, at a reasonable cost.
Yeah,
Very.
this is actually the trend we're starting to see. Things are they're not drastically coming down like they drastically went up, but instead of being about $1,000 a window, they are starting to come back down to about $800. They're coming in a little bit faster, so things are starting to pick up in pace, which is nice.
Absolutely.
When we started this program, this was exactly what we were trying to achieve. So thank you for your perseverance. You know, it hasn't always been an easy path, but thanks to your work and the contractor, someone's going to have a much more protected home, and their winter is going to be more comfortable. So we deeply appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
of
I would
course.
third the motion if that's still.
Yeah, no.
We keep going, we may not have to vote.
I appreciate your patience. It's not just me, it's all of us in that office pulling these things together. There's a lot of other people who bust their butts to make it happen as well. So we really appreciate the patience. Not everyone is patient with this, but that's just because everyone needs the help and we're all excited about it. So thanks for trusting us with it, and hopefully we'll be back with more of these soon.
Good.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Will you please call the roll?
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4L, contracts with the following to provide annual services for county snow removal and truck-mounted plow services. The cost of the county is not to exceed $65,600 for all contracts. They're with K2 Real Estate Development, doing business as K2 Construction, and Jake's Odd Jobs.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve these contracts. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4M, the adoption of the 2024 Lancaster County legislative priorities.
We've had some additional insight since we set this a week ago, and I'm going to move approval of the Lancaster County legislative priorities with the amendment to remove number 4 that deals with amusement licenses.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the Lancaster County legislative priorities with the removal of the section talking about amusement licenses. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 4N, agreement with Baylor Evnan, PC, to provide professional legal services to Lancaster County.
Move approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the
I
roll.
actually have a comment on this one.
Okay.
This is the second extension of this contract. If this passes, the original contract was $50,000, and now this law firm is asking for $120,000 to complete the work. If we were building a bridge and they came back and asked for more than double the original price, we would hesitate, and we should hesitate. I feel like this law firm is taking advantage of us. There's no way this contract should be extended. The attorney understood the breadth of the work and submitted a bid that, I don't know, maybe it was made without good faith. We've got an HR department that can and should be taking control of this project instead they're letting it run amok with an outside attorney. Not only is this outside attorney continuing to charge us more for the exact same project, but this project is harassing our elected officials who are our department heads. And so I have no interest in passing the extension of this contract.
We have a motion and a second to approve this contract. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
No.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Passes 4-1.
Excuse me, I got to step out too.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 5, public comment. Those wishing to speak in items related to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Penny Stevens, and I live here in Lincoln, Nebraska. I want to continue my talk on the vulnerabilities of using the ES&S election systems and software that I believe has been passed to provide funding for this. Here, just a reminder that we the people are the top of the food chain here. It really, we can't express enough how vulnerable computers are to hacking. It's mind-blowing that we have never been given a proper amount of time to have a decent conversation about this. Last week I spoke on how you could register online, that the big push for that, you go to this address, it takes you here to register. On the first page you can check your current registration information by going to Voter View. It takes you to ES&S website. ES&S is a vendor that is contracted with the Secretary of State. We pay them about $1 million a year for this service. That's a heck of a lot of money when the system is extremely vulnerable. Here, it shows back in 2019 that a request was made by ES&S to the Secretary of State's office to give them the ability to remove these active registrants. This is done through the DMV. A little bit of a review. There's the DMV. The privacy is extremely serious. So I wanted to continue on here, and how in the world does ES&S connect to the DMV? Programmers can write their own code, or you can get a software. And here for one is one ID scanner. It has the ability to scan your credit card, or your driver's license, like at the store when you're buying alcohol. And what this does is it takes the information right from the card. For instance, this is what the scanner takes the driver's license information, you code it up to 20 different fields. You can code and have it pull, go back here, you can have it pull whether you're a citizen, whether your signature, all your information off your driver's license. And it pops it in there. So that's how they get the information from the registration from the DMV. And then I thought to myself, well, why does the DMV give our information? And so I did a search on that, and lo and behold, multiple different sites show how DMVs can and do collect your personal data. It's just part of the electronic world that we live in. But why is this allowed? In several states, the Department of Motor Vehicle supplements its income by selling driver's license personal information, including their names, dates of birth, addresses, and the cars they own. Here are several Democrats who spoke out back in 2016. DMV should not be in the business of recklessly selling information. From Richard Blumenthal. Bernie Sanders, the DMV should not use its trove of personal information as a tool to make money. So, rightfully so, this information is getting out there. Whether Nebraska DMV is actually selling it, it is out there on the internet. The reason, run out of time. What I want to show you here is you can go to a site, put in your name, and you can pull up the information, and it appears that you are at the Nebraska Public DMV record site, which you are not, and I can get the information for $1. We'll continue the rest of that next time. Thank you very much.
Ken Anderson, Douglas County, Nebraska. A few weeks ago, Wayne Benna stood here at the microphone and explained that the election equipment, the ES&S machines, are not connected to the internet. And I'd like to bring up the question of the definition of internet. If it quacks like internet, looks like internet, waddles like internet, but doesn't have the DNA of internet, is it really internet? So there's a discussion there to be had. He could be right, but there's something called FirstNet. And FirstNet uses different kind of packets. They're called EPC, Evolved Packet Core. It's on the same LTE channel as internet. And whether it encapsulates internet or runs beside it, I'm not quite sure. But yes, it could be said that ES&S machines are not connected to the internet. But the word is getting out that the election equipment has been authorized to use FirstNet. And I'm doing a little bit more research into that. Supposedly, that particular fact is immune from disclosure requests. So I don't know how that's going to work out if I try to get that disclosure whether ES&S equipment is connected to FirstNet, which acts like internet, quacks like internet, waddles like internet. It just doesn't have the DNA of internet because of the packet structure. But it shares bandwidth with internet, and so it can preempt. It's made to be able to preempt in times of need the internet. So it's a function of LTE, Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T. I'm looking at this page that I'm showing here on this device here is of the contract. It's from the contract, state contract, Nebraska state contract with AT&T. Contract number 9061004. And it is the FirstNet contract for the state that runs through August 11th of next year. And there are a lot of different devices. They don't specify which devices the LTE, the FirstNet is going to, but obviously it's first responders. So that supposedly has been expanded by President Obama back in 2012 to include election equipment. And I just bring this up because that argument or the issue of whether or not the machines are connected to the internet has not really been settled when they easily are authorized to connect data-wise, network-wise, via FirstNet. So, thank you very much.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak during public comment this morning? Seeing none, we will proceed.
Item number 6, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, September 14th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold the following meetings on Tuesday, September 19th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. They are the regular meeting, a public hearing regarding the Comprehensive Plan Amendment 23009 to amend the 2050 Lincoln Lancaster County Comprehensive Plan by adopting the Local Food System Plan and Board of Equalization. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners' meeting is broadcast live on LNK-TV. LNK-TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK-TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
4-0. We are adjourned.